Hello class, I'm Dr. Paris von Lockett, and today we'll be talking about some results of the initial survey that we did on the class and how it's going for you folks. So this lecture focuses on the results of that survey. We'll be talking about our three questions: who's taking the class, whether or not Zoom's working, and what your expectations are. And then, hopefully after this, we'll be able to identify what you'd like to see in the class moving forward. That's our key takeaway from today. So first off, we asked which answer best describes the stage you're in with respect to your academic career. Looks like 87% of people are a junior, and that's to be expected because that's where the class is sort of sitting at. We've got a few sophomores, about 10, so less than 10%, maybe close to 5%, 8%, and then a few seniors. Next, we asked which answer best describes how happy you are with the broad topics planned for the section. And we gave you a list of what the topics were: beam bending, stress concentration, large deflection analysis like springs, modal analysis, dynamic response, heat transfer, etc. Yeah. So what did we find? Well, it looks like 72% of you are satisfied with the proposed content. So if you look at those bottom two categories, what we have: very satisfied, 26%, somewhat satisfied, 46%. Add those together, you get your 72. But then we've got about a quarter, 25%, are neutral. And that could either be because you are uncertain about whether or not these topics will be useful, or you're really just not excited about the topics that are there. So maybe this is an issue with the question and how we asked it, but hopefully as we go along, maybe we'll get some more feedback on what you are more interested in seeing. And then somewhat dissatisfied, we've got 7 respondents, about 4%. And so if you're one of those folks, hopefully we can tease out what it is you'd like to see. Next, we asked, how are you with the Zoom office hours and how the class is structured? 87% said they were okay with Zoom. Pretty overwhelmingly, 66% of the whole class said they're very much okay. 21% said that they are somewhat okay. Again, we have our neutrals, but now we're down in the 10%, and we just have a handful of respondents who are not okay or not okay at all. They want to see something different. And again, if you're one of those folks, if you could reach out to me, maybe there's some way we can actually put something in the class that makes it a little bit more acceptable to you folks. And also remember, you can always come to the in-person office hours as well, since those things are there for you to take advantage of. And finally, let's take a look at how are we doing with respect to everything in the class and the rating system that Penn State sort of puts to things. So if we look at sort of line path, their grading scheme, it goes A through F. And if you look at these percentage markers, if we map those onto the percentages of how people answered with respect to each category, something that they thought was positive was going on, you can see that, satisfied with the course, we had, I think it was something in the 70s. That would actually be a C. And okay with the Zoom format, something in the upper 80s, that would actually be a B+. And what we're really striving for here is to provide you guys with a top-notch experience such that you can become top-notch experts in how to do computational simulations and modeling. We're throwing at you some moderately tough problems, some problems with some nuance to them, some problems that could be challenging and difficult, and we're hopefully that you'll get some training in that. Troubleshooting is also as important as anything else, being able to go through a demo, and so you're getting that content as well. So if we look then at how those B, C, A, B ratings map onto the 7-point scale that Penn State uses for their course evaluations, we typically consider 7 to be our A range, 6 to be our B, 5 to be our C, 4 to be our D, and 3 to be sort of below the bar at F. And oddly, the way Penn State ranks it, halfway between top and bottom, a 3.5, that's somewhere between a D and an F. And so on these scales, when you usually think of the middle as neutral, Penn State kind of thinks of that middle ranking of 3.5 to be just about failing. And what we're trying to do is push into the A-B range, the 6-7 range, and so we want to see how to get there. We're looking for some feedback from some of you. So we've got somewhat into the high Bs now with our 6-0 Canvas Zoom format. Maybe we'll do a follow-up on the content to see how that's going now that you've been into it somewhat, and also to see what else you're interested in that we could maybe slip into the course, if not this year, then possibly in future years. Either way, we'd still like to hear from you to get this 5 closer up to a 6-7. And finally, your expectations. We made a word cloud. I made a word cloud from your responses. I looked through those to see what people were saying that they were interested in. And sometimes word clouds are good, sometimes they're not as good. You have to do a lot of sifting to take out some words that really aren't as helpful in understanding what's going on as others, like lot, kind of right here in the center. But what we found, and what I found from this is, yeah, you're interested in SolidWorks for sure, using SolidWorks, learning SolidWorks. We have CFD coming up here. We have FEA coming up here. Some people talked about wanting to get something out of the assignments and making sure that they're not just busy work. Folks talked about looking at wanting to know how to do analyses of various types and how to have examples of those analyses, and wanted to, there's some career stuff in here as well related to broadening, here's broadening, broadening their understanding in engineering and different topics. So hopefully we're going to hit you with a lot of content. That lot of content is going to cover a lot of areas, and those lots of areas will map onto your future needs, either on the job, maybe even in your capstone design process. And hopefully as well, you can have a background in and how to apply this stuff to problems as you see them, such that the demonstrations, albeit that there's some walkthrough, some of it requires a little bit of nuanced understanding, as we've seen with some of the problems that you have to troubleshoot. So what's our takeaway? Areas for improvement based on these comments and some emails that I've gotten from people. Some things that we can do and that we are doing. Well, folks have requested some clear instructions on homework assignments. We can definitely do that. We can put some more delineated items on those things and be more specific, especially in participation, about what we're looking for. We can also flesh out the rubric showing what's expected, and you can see how it's going to be graded. These largely line up with the homework assignments, but maybe that's another place where you can look and see item by item what things are worth and how they're going to be checked for. We're working on developing summary sheets that you can fill out. These summary sheets hopefully will follow the rubric, so until we get them, just look for the rubrics. The rubrics will tell you what should be included, and if you put all that on the front page, sometimes as it's asked for, it makes it a lot easier to grade, and eventually we'll be possibly making this a requirement, so look out for that. Also in the future, we'll probably do another round of surveys as we get closer to the midterm to see how things are going, to see if some of the things that we've changed have been helpful, and to see if now that you're farther in, you know a little bit more about what's going on, some of the topics we're covering, how you feel about those as well. Some things that we can't do or that we won't be doing, changing the release dates for the lectures. These are still going to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but please understand it's on a 2-week cycle. So the Monday of any given week, you are given the homework and the participation associated with those lectures for that whole week. So you can start looking at that. Generally, the participation is something you can complete by Wednesday's lecture. And then if you can have enough information by Wednesday's lecture to complete it, you have an additional week to do so. So it's not due from 1 week after that Wednesday. So you have about 10 days on the participation. For the homework, you'll have everything you need to do the homework by the end of the week on Friday, and from that point, you get an additional week to do the homework. So our hope here is that you can pace yourself through the lectures, and then on Friday, once you've done all the lectures, you have another week to do the assignment. Now, if there are people who like getting all the lectures up front and then just busting through the participation and the homework, just wait till Friday. On Friday, you'll have access to the participation, you'll have access to the homework, you'll have about 5 days to do the participation, and you'll have a whole week to do the homework. So you can actually make that cycle for yourself if that's what you're more interested in. Finally, late assignments. I get emails about late assignments pretty often, And what I'd like for everyone to know is categorically, we are not going to accept late assignments. And the reason we're not doing that is that we're just trying to be fair and democratic to everybody across the board. You all have lots of commitments on your time, on your resources, on your energy, other classes. Some people work, some people are taking care of family members or siblings. And so everybody's got something that's drawing on their time. And how you go about managing your time is part of learning in the college process, but also on the job. You're going to have time management issues with your responsibilities. And if an employer says, look, I need you to generate this report by Friday, the report has to be generated by Friday. And if you have a week to do it, then you kind of figure out when you can fit it in. And here we're giving you that at least that week after you have all the information you need to complete these assignments. All right, so maybe that's the stick. Here's the carrot. We are automatically dropping the lowest homework assignment grade. It's coming right off the top. You don't even have to ask for it. We're getting rid of the lowest one in the FEA section for the first half of the course. We're going to get rid of the lowest one in the CFD section for the second half of the course. So whatever happens, you get one. And once you have that assignment, either you don't turn it in or it's only partially done, you don't like the grade, you don't have to worry about it anymore because it is then off the books. And since there aren't a whole lot of assignments throughout the whole semester, 2 out of that number we thought was a pretty good sort of balance between being a little bit draconian, but also giving something back to you on the back end. So maybe you can give some feedback on that one the next time around as well on the next survey. All right, well, thank you for participating. Thank you for watching this. Hopefully we are delivering to you some top-notch material to help you become better designers and better analysts, and that you can use these tools either in your senior level classes coming up or maybe even on the job a little bit later. Thanks, take care, and we'll see you next time.